pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everybody. We are being broadcast live over YouTube and our Channel 12. Clerk Wright, could you call the roll?
Yes. Trustee Kelly?
Here.
Trustee Boyne?
Here.
Trustee Martin?
Here.
Trustee Frazier is excused. Treasurer Bud?
Here.
Clerk Wright is present. Supervisor?
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Today's executive summary. The consent agenda today includes the board meeting minutes, the prepaid lists, the voucher lists, basically our everyday bills. There's also approval of a 2027 Suburban Mobile Authority for Regional Transportation, which is a smart contract to help us get mostly senior citizens around appointments. There's also an approval of a Planning Commission Rules of Procedure, which basically gives the Planning Commission the same rules of procedures that the current board, this board has. We are asking for an additional line item to be added to this, the Senior Alliance's annual grant. Every year we get the same grant. It's for the senior center. It's for services. It's for $14,900. And they have a 3-week turnaround, which means if we don't do it today, we're literally going to have to do it the next meeting and have it in by midnight. So better off walking it out. There will be a presentation today we're kind of excited about on the Belleville Lake Aquatic Weed Management Program and the algae treatments that are coming up. We also have new business today, which includes a discussion on entering a memorandum of understanding with Van Buren's Public Schools. This is for our school resource officer. We currently have a resource officer at the schools. This is to re-up that contract. We're also going to have a discussion on a resolution to extend the moratorium that we currently have on large prisons, industrial projects, which include data centers and power generation facilities. We do need to add to the regular agenda to create a budget line item and a job description for a park superintendent. Can I get a motion to adopt the agenda? And Sherry, you generally keep close tabs. Could you do this?
I make a motion, we adopt the agenda as presented with item number 3 as a new item. Consider approval of the park superintendent job description. Item 4, consider approval of the Senior Alliance on Area Aging for the contract for 2027 through 2029.
Support.
Put the senior on the.
We could put the seniors under consent if that's okay with the board.
Under consent?
I don't,
I'm okay with that.
Okay, move the consent. Can I consider your amended?
yes.
Support.
All right, okay, we have support.
Support.
Okay, I got a motion by the treasurer and support by somebody. Clerk Wright. Hearing no further discussion, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Moving forward on the agenda, we have the adoption of the consent agenda. Trustee Boynton.
Through the chair, I move that we accept the following board meeting minutes of July 7th, prepaid list of July 15th, voucher list of July 21st, all of 2026, the 2027 Suburban Mobility Authority for Regional Transportation, in other words, SMART contract, and the Planning Commission Rules of Procedure for 2027 update, and the
Senior Alliance.
Senior Alliance Area Agency on Aging contract as well.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Support.
All right, I have a motion by Trustee Boynton, supported by Trustee Kelly. Hearing no further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? This motion passes. We move now to public hearing, which we have none. We are now into the correspondence, announcements, and presentations. Does anybody have a?
Just real briefly, I'd like to thank Director Akers for taking a look into something for us last week. I'm going to read the memo that Director Akers put together for us concerning the one of the things we voted on. At the prior board meeting, it was stated by a member of the public that Wayne Metro was providing housing rehabilitation services in Van Buren Township. Upon this statement, we researched the Wayne County CDBG web resource webpage to verify. We went direct to their site. On the site, at the top of the page, it states, due to overwhelming response to Wayne County's housing rehabilitation program for our 34 participating jurisdictions, we have suspended the acceptance of new applications. Once we service the homeowners currently on the rehabilitation list, we will reopen the application intake process for housing repairs based on Wayne County and the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development regulations. Based on the statement, Wayne County is no longer accepting applications for housing rehabilitation in the county. As they're not accepting them anymore, our action last week seems to be in line with what we were discussing.
And just so the public knows, the action last week, Van Buren Township is kind of tired of people telling us that, we can't get our houses rehabilitated for people that are in need. And so they're basically letting roofs go to heck and everything else like that. And in the end, they either have to move out, and sometimes we actually have to condemn the houses because it gets so bad. If you can get it when it first starts, and you can stay in your house, and we put a lien on your house, which we don't collect until you sell it. And we don't care if you stayed there for 40 years. We're not in the business to make money on this. We're in the business to take care of the citizens that are at risk, that need places, that shouldn't be forced out of their homes. We've been dependent on Wayne Metro, and Wayne Metro, as far as I'm concerned, has let us down, or we're not getting the help we need. So Van Buren Township's going to start its own fund. We voted last week to start that fund. If there's anybody in need and can meet some of the simple income amounts, we're willing to help you in your home. They set aside $30,000 into a separate fund to help work on that. So if you know anybody that's in need, let us know. We'll see if we can help you. Moving on, is there anybody else that has an announcement?
Yeah, I got it. I got
Clerk
a
Wright.
short one. Okay, the Michigan primary election is scheduled for August 4th, 2 weeks from today. To date, we have 7,459 absentee ballots been issued, 2,084 has been returned. So that's kind of slow on my behalf, but this is I would also like to remind everyone that absentee ballots must be turned in by 8 p.m. on election day in order to be counted. And also remember that Michigan is a closed partisan primary, which means voters cannot cross-party vote. When voting in the partisan section of the ballot, you can only vote in a Democratic or Republican section, not both. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, today we have a presentation. Okay, go ahead, you take it from here. I don't know how you guys got it set up, but I know Adam's going to be up.
Good evening, board. I'd like to introduce Adam Haas. He will be giving a presentation today on our lake management improvement efforts so far and what the plans are for the future. He is an intern in our municipal services office. So I will let Adam take it away.
Thank you. Tell us a little bit about yourself before you start.
Yeah, so my name's Adam Haas. I grew up in Van Buren Township all my life, went to Belleville High School. I've lived on the lake all my life for 20 years, and I've loved the lake. I love this community. It's brought me many great days and some bad days, but always great days out on the lake. I go to Wayne State, and I study political science and employment labor relations. I'm currently a rising junior. Lake improvement slideshow and update. A little background on Belleville Lake. Belleville Lake is an artificial reservoir created originally from the Rossonville River. It was later flooded by the French Landing Dam when Thomas Edison came to town in 1925. And we had our very first environmental cleanup in around 1973 with an invasive species of carp that has overpopulated the lake. So they decided to drain the lake and kill all the carp. In incidents, they end up killing all the fish because they put way too much chemicals in the water, which was an accident. Right now, Belleville Lake is facing many key issues, with one of them having long-term algae blooms for over 30 plus years, phosphorus levels exceeding 30 micrograms per liter, and poor water clarity, as well as invasive species have overgrown in most areas in the lake, and rising sediment making it harder for boats to have access, and making public access to the lake much harder for certain residents on the lake, or moving their boat from a boat launch. Causing facts and factors are led to this as internal phosphorus just loading in the sediment, high extreme phosphorus inputs from downriver from the Huron River watershed, as well as there's just been no significant improvements at all since Belleville Lake's been created since 1973, which is the last time that I can find record of Van Buren Township putting any improvements into the lake. And as global warming intensifies, the water temperature increases, it creates a great habitat for the algae to grow and thrive even more, which creates harder and harder algae blooms every year. And boats trailing from other lakes to ours are also a contributing factor to the rising invasive species in Belleville Lake. Now, this chart over here is showing the timeline of basically phosphorus found in the water from at 1 second. Phosphorus found in the water. This orange line right here represents the Eagle's bare minimum goal of around 30 milliliters per microliters per liter. And right now we have never been nowhere close to that. We are actually on a current rise since 2025. This report was done in 2023, and the closest we ever gotten is in 2015. But since then, we have been on a rise. Edison Lake is another place that's enduring many challenges due to the environmental cleanup. It's connected on Haggerty Road beneath the bridge in a kind of a tucked away area. They have a major issue of water depth and sediment rising, making it impossible for most residents to not even access the lake. Another issue is that the bridge height is too low, and for some people, they can't get their boats in and out. And over time, this is going to keep growing and growing until they don't have access to the lake, because it's going to become more of a puddle than a lake. One of the things we are looking at is the township actually reached out to the Wayne County Drain Commission, and we found that under Drain Code 425, it will allow Wayne County to pay for itself. So the township wouldn't actually have to pay this out of pocket, but use MDOT and the fact that it runs too close to the freeway, causing dirt and debris to get built up in the drains, causing sediment to build up and flow into Edison Lake, allowing Wayne County to come out and dredge and clear out the drains to create better flow of water into Edison Lake. Belleville Lake's assessment, Van Buren Township partnered up with progressive companies, and right now our main goal is to improve lake quality conditions, protect the habitat, and support property values. The assessments include water quality sample, plant surveys, and storm water impact evaluation. We had our first community engagement event held on October 15th, 2025, and April 30th of 2026 to share findings and gather residents' input of what they want to see done on the lake. Onto the type of invasive species, we have Eurasian milfoil, which is present in 6% of sites, and it's also a submersive species, which is rooted into the sediment of the ground of Belleville Lake. We have starry stonewort, which is another submersive found in 1% of sites. We have brittle leaf, which is also another submersive, and it's found about 1% of sites. This is Phragmites. They're emergent, mostly spread across the Belleville, the bridges, and some shallower areas along the lake on the shoreline. It's found in about 8% of sites studied. This is purple leucostrite. It's also emergent. It's a nice, pretty purple flowery kind of plant, but it's also invasive, and it's found in about 1% of sites. This map right here shows the amount of biomass all across the Belleville Lake, and it sees it. It's more spread across the Rossonville area and on the I-94 Service Drive area where Lane is, I believe. I'm not completely sure on the street. Sunrise, yeah. Back over to this map. This map shows the depth of the lake, and you can see that the biomass tends to grow better off in shallower areas more to 0 to 5 feet, which also have warmer temperatures in the summer seasons, causing extreme growth of most plant life and invasive species in Belleville Lake. This map also shows where all known located invasive plant life is located in Belleville Lake, which a majority of it is located in the heavier biomass areas along the Rossonville Road, where the ski course is and other residents live. And as the Phargamites are more located across the Denton Road Bridge and the Belleville Road Bridge, with certain areas of the French Landing Dam being affected with certain plant life and invasive species as well. So aquatic PLM, or aquatic weed control, is targeting these invasive species like Eurasian milfoil. And every time they target them, they put up signs about in the treated areas within 100 feet of every treated area. And then they're also doing phosphorus inactivation, and additional details will pending treatment notices. And this is 1 year of funding provided by Van Buren Township. The first treatment was Eurasian milfoil. It was a herbicidal treatment, mainly targeting this Rossonville area that has a heavy buildup of plant life, and has seen very effective results of that treatment before and after. It is a huge difference from my personal experience. It's actually even pushed back some of the lily pads, which has been quoted as one of the more troublesome plants that people have been dealing with back in that area. This was a pilot test, but this is a algae treatment. It's non-herbicidal. It's a mineral treatment, so it's no effect on the water, no effect on the fish. It aims at killing the algae by binding it with minerals and sinking it down to the bottom, causing it to die and suffocate of lack of oxygen. The treatment date was the 30th of June. And then our third treatment was the most recent treatment, which was the 13th of July. And this one was focused on coastal aquatic nuisances along most of the coastlines of the Rossonville area, all the way down to the French Landing Dam, which we had to use a different chemical compound, which is less harmful because of the outflow down the Huron River watershed and its proximity to the French Landing Dam. Upcoming dates, we'll have another lake survey of the 22nd, so that will be tomorrow. We have another algae treatment pending the pilot test that we just did. And then we have another lake survey coming up on the 20th of August, and the week of August 24th, we'll have our final weed spot treatment. Now, the continuance of the project, Progressive Company /report will make a report/recommendation to be released mid to late October to early November. Van Buren Township plans to continue to work with Progressive Company because this is a multi-year process, and this depends on funding as well. Van Buren Township also continues to engage with the community on lake quality improvements efforts this fall.
Excellent. I have no questions, you guys. I can give you a little update on Edison Lake. We met with Wayne County regarding what you just talked about, the fact that it was there's sediments in there, and Wayne County determined that it was possible MDOT would help. MDOT proceeded to say, get us a proposal. I've been told that weight trim, correct? Weight trim has been hired, and they're going to start doing an assessment of that lake. This is by no means a quick cleanup because, quite frankly, this could be literally millions of dollars, and they are going to be using what money they can funnel to it. So it could take a couple of years, but it's better than the residents having to pay millions of dollars, because that's Edison Lake is actually owned by the residents. It's an oddity. It's not owned by the township. So, but that's good news for them. They're gonna get I hope they're going to get a lake back. That was a really good report. Anybody else? No, everything I was writing notes, like you didn't cover this and this, and then you did. Oh, great job. All right, thank you, Adam. So, how long before you have to go back to school?
I was kind of gonna just work until you guys tell me to go back to school.
Oh, okay. Well, I will give you the follow-up then is that the board has made it clear its intention that it does want to get some kind of a board out there that can make recommendations to us, and that'll be probably the next thing you're going to be investigating for us as a presentation on some ideas on how to do that, so we can discuss and decide what we want to do. But thank you. All right. All right, anybody else have any comments? Okay, so we are now into public comment. Is there anybody from the public that wishes to speak on any of the issues that are before us today? No? All right, we're moving on to new business. Oh, I'm sorry. That's right, you did. We had something on the mail.
We received an email communication yesterday, July 20th. For the one that is on the agenda, just brief. We see that the agenda for tomorrow includes Resolution 2026-18 regarding extending the data center moratorium. Can you update the resolution to include hyperscale data centers as well? And can we please have this email right into the official record at tomorrow's Board of Trustees meeting on 7/21/26? Thank you.
Thank you. All right, anybody else? Come on up.
My name is Michael Calabrese. I am a Romulus resident. I know a lot of people were unhappy with the, Canadian wildfires. Personally, as a person that lives next to a trash hill, it smelled decent for me because I'm used to not being able to enjoy so much as a regular day with the sunlight out because it smells like trash, or it smells like sulfur, or it smells like some sort of garbage. Now, I came up here to talk to the mayor or something. I guess your records lady is out. I said something to the lady about how my life doesn't really matter. And she said, you can't say that. And I said, well, I can because I get garbage dumped on me. I smell trash air. I smell chemicals. Like I said, I can't so much as enjoy a summer's day. What I'm here is to find the people responsible for that, be it anyone that's here or if it's I just want some names so that me and my neighbors can curse at them. Me and my neighbors can unite against the people that cause us so much. It's like they say, this is America. I look up and I see an ever-growing pile of trash, and that's what I see. I don't think that my country cares about me because it can dump trash on me. It can open data centers against most people's wills. It can just, I don't have much of a future, I don't think. I live next to a trash hill. I've outlived some of my friends. And I'm not scared to die. We all die, and I'm pretty much ready there because, like I said, I live with my parents. I don't have much expectations for anything. I just want to be able to breathe the air. So if any of you know the people that are responsible for making me and my neighbors' lives so terrible, that would be helpful.
Okay, so this isn't on the agenda, but that's okay. If you call and ask for our garbage person, they have a direct hotline to Waste Management. She also has a direct hotline to Waste Management, and those calls are recorded, and we keep track of them so that we can we meet with them quarterly, and we go over the complaints and if they were rectified and what they did. So if you call here and ask for the garbage lady, she will record your complaint and give you a number for Waste Management's complaint hotline. It's 1-800 something. I don't remember, but we set it up. We set it up when we were getting lots of complaints.
The Marl Park roadside park number, I call that like all the time, anytime it smells.
I don't know what that is.
I think it's supposed to be EGLE, but when you look it up online, it says
No.
Marl Lake.
You're going to call Waste Management because
Gotcha.
But you call us because we record those too.
We're so like wondering who rezoned it.
Oh, Jesus. Some guy 80, some guy 50 years ago did it.
Years ago?
50 years ago. But it's been a landfill for
Well, no,
40
'cause
probably.
No, because it was a golf course.
But they own the golf course. So, yeah, so. But that's been 12 years, probably, 10 years.
Okay,
right.
well,
Sorry.
thank you. Appreciate you.
Anybody else? No? No? Come on up. Yes, sir.
Hello, my name's Matthew. I live over on the homestead at Ecorse. I had a comment about I believe the moratorium on a few of the projects, regarding prisons and the projects regarding says large industrial projects.
That includes data centers.
Yeah. So firstly, like I'm pretty in support of a moratorium on both of those kinds of projects. There's a lot there was lots of news last year regarding that project for building the ICE detention center, things like that. I'm just concerned about as a local resident in the community, not in support of things like that. So I am in support of this moratorium. And then regarding the moratorium you just mentioned regarding the data centers, I think it might be useful to include in the language of the moratorium, maybe specifically the term data center or the term hyperscaler, if the intent of it is, as you say, to protect against those things. I do like the approach of targeting the kinds of zoning of the uses of what those kinds of things would be anyway. I feel like if you also include specific language in addition to what's already there, then we get full coverage of the intent of the moratorium.
Just to be clear, you cannot zone out data centers. They're legal businesses, and if you do not provide a place for them, then you get moved out. But we will take into consideration that.
Yeah,
Thank
just
you.
as a local resident,
Okay,
I don't
thank
want
you.
data centers. So
Yes,
thank you.
we will. Yeah, I'll bring forward those things. I think somebody already in our board has mentioned that, Kevin Martin. Anybody else? Hearing none? Okay, we're moving on to unfinished business, which we have now. We're now into new business. First item is discussion and to consider approval of a memorandum of understanding between Van Buren Township and the Van Buren Public School System for a school resource officer. Can I get a motion?
Through the chair.
Right?
I can make the motion to consider approval to enter into a memorandum of understanding between the Charter Township of Van Buren and Van Buren Public Schools for a school resource officer.
Support.
Treasurer Bud. Deputy Chief, go ahead.
Thank you, Board. Good evening. Prior to your consideration for this renewal of our school resource officer agreement between the township and the schools, first want to thank you guys, the entire board, for your support of this program. I also want to spend a couple minutes just highlighting some of our successes that we've had the last few years. We've been running this program about 3 years, and it's been evolving the last few years because we've taken more of a holistic approach towards policing in the schools. As you know, Officer Vargas, is currently assigned as our department school resource officer. Vargas is a very humble guy. I tried to get him here because I wanted to stand him right here and talk about what a great job he's doing. He's on vacation right now, but I'm sure he would not want to be here because that's just how he is. He likes to operate behind the scenes. So Officer Vargas, he's responsible for 7 school buildings inside the township, primarily. He assists Officer Stewart at Belleville High School. They have a fantastic working relationship. They share duties sometimes cases overlap, but they also work hand in hand with Dan Wright, the Director of School Safety, to serve I think there's 4,300 students in Van Buren schools. A lot of what we do with this partnership, a lot of it is behind the scenes. It's not something that you hear about, or it's not something that's really publicized. And some of that's our fault. Some of that is for a reason. But at the end of every single year, I sit down with Officer Vargas and I kind of debrief him on some things that we talked about at the beginning of the year to see what accomplishments and successes and how things have gone throughout the year. After this year, I thought, with the renewal of a contract, maybe I'll come up and talk about some of the successes that he's had with the schools. As you know, the core mission of a school resource officer is maintaining the safety and security of the students, the staff, the school facilities. Every day of the school year, Officer Vargas works very closely with the administrators, the teachers to identify any potential concerns, um, conduct threat assessments, investigate incidents, and he also maintains a visible presence through all the schools. He tells me he walks sometimes 25,000 steps in a day on his Garmin watch. So he is out and about making a visible presence to each of the schools. If something's identified in these meetings, we've tried to take a proactive approach to this where we'll conduct what we call wellness checks and student safety assessments. Sometimes these occur in the student's home along with their parents. And we try to identify any sort of issue that may be small before it becomes a larger issue. And a lot of times he can connect the student and even the family with resources to provide them support. One of the things the schools have kind of focused on and have talked to Juan about, and we've kind of tried to come up with solutions towards, is absenteeism. We're not just simply writing tickets to solve absenteeism. We're working collaboratively with the students, the families, counselors, teachers to try to improve attendance of these students. And he's even gone as far as removing barriers sometimes just to make sure these kids are getting the support system they need, and we're trying to get them in the seats in the school. So, and he's done a pretty good job. He spends a lot of time working with families, trying to connect them to services, but he's doing a pretty good job on kind of reducing some of the truancy in the schools. One of the things that he's also worked on this year in every district is ALICE training. Now, ALICE stands for Alert, Lockdown, Inform, Counter, and Evacuate. I know when most of us were in school during the Cold War, we did like atomic bomb drills where we would duck and hide. And it's a lot more complex. It's gotten a lot more complex now with all the different types of critical incidents that we've seen in the schools. So he's hit every single school. He's trained the administrators, he's trained the teachers, he's trained some of the students for any sort of situation that may arise, a critical incident that may arise in the school. One of the priorities that we tried to do this year is become more involved in student engagement. So we developed a program, Juan developed a program, a curriculum, which we're not very creative. It's called the School Resource Officer Academy. We're not really creative with the name, but what it did, it took students who voluntarily participate in leadership development, teamwork exercises, community policing, education, and public services. And the program provided students some valuable life skills while also, strengthening our relationships with law enforcement. He organizes Shop with the Cop every year where we're able to bring in students that may not have an opportunity for Christmases. Probably 80% of our department shows up, and we partner with the kids, and we go through Meijer, we go through Walmart, and we're able to provide these kids a fantastic Christmas. He raises money sometimes on his own for this program, to support this program. One of the other initiatives that we started this year, which is very unique to us, is a firearms familiarization program. This is for staff in the schools that volunteer to become familiar with firearms. Everything from what the sound of a gunshot sounds like to how to render a weapon safe to some basic firearms laws. This is all done at our gun range over here off of Quirk Road, and it started off slow, but it's been extremely popular with the staff at the school. So in fact, I think we're doing another one tomorrow with our training staff, our training cadre. One of the other initiatives that he started this year, or actually returned this year, was a charity fundraiser between Van Buren Belleville Public Safety versus the Belleville United basketball team for a charity game. It was a fantastic game. We actually lost like 70-something to 30-something. Most of us are pretty competitive in our minds. We think we still got game, but we really don't. But it was great. The Belleville High School gym was absolutely filled with people. It was a wonderful fundraiser. So we have the right person in the right spot doing a fantastic job. I do feel like this program makes a difference every day to our students, the staff, the community. Not just because I'm a Belleville High School grad, I was also SRO before, so I understand the importance in the community with this job, but For your consideration before you is a MOU. The attachments A entails the SRO duties and responsibilities. Attachment B contains the cost borne by the school district, which is 75% of Officer Vargas's wages. The MOU has been reviewed by Attorney Manarino, and she does agree with the contents of this document for your consideration. So if there's any questions, please let me know.
Questions, comments?
Sounds like he's doing a good job. You just got to keep at it.
Fantastic job.
For 10 years, I read Angela Manarino, our prosecutor's notes every month. And when we got a school resource officer, I started seeing a trend that we were writing truancy tickets.
Yep.
And I'm on the mental health board, and I have been for 15 years in the substance use board for Wayne County. And I can tell you that we fought wars in Van Buren Township 10 years ago to get our kids out of circuit court downtown and to get them into our courts here. Because when they get truancy tickets, they were going downtown, they'd spend 6 months, they'd go down there and sign a document, and they go home, and then 6 months to a year later, they get another truancy ticket, and we find out for 2 years they've been on drugs, or they had mental health problems, or behavioral health problems just at home that could have been fixed. Now here, when we have a truancy problem, we attack that problem, and within 2 weeks, we know what the problem is, and a lot of the times it's not the kid, or some kind of outside influence. And we get them help, and because of that, those programs are really working. And Officer Vargas is doing an amazing job at getting them into the system. Because I immediately saw it when he moved in there. Suddenly, the truancy.
Yep.
Yeah, thank you. Any other comments? No. Okay, we have a motion. Help me out for a moment here. Clerk Wright. We have a motion by Clerk Wright, and it's been supported by Treasurer Budd. Hearing no further discussion, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? This motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you for your support with this program. Thank you.
Next item is discussion of an approval of a resolution to extend the deferment accepting application for private prisons, large industrial projects meeting certain criteria. Can I get a motion?
Chair.
Trustee Martin.
I make the motion to consider approval of Resolution 2026-18 to extend the deferment of accepting application for private prisons, large industrial projects meeting certain criteria, power generation facilities, and I would like to add to that data centers and hyperscale data centers.
Support.
Okay, so we're amending it for data centers and hyperscale, and we have a support by Clerk Wright. Okay, so they were included, but now they're named, so that's probably always good. Director Akers.
Thank you. So before you is an extension of the existing moratorium that we have on the books regarding private prisons, certain industrial developments, and private power generation facilities. The proposal is to extend it for an additional 6 months to expire in, I believe it is February of 2027. Part of the reason why we need the extension has been due to some of our turnover with our contractual planning staff. We are in the final stages of putting a draft before the Planning Commission, so we should be hopefully continuing to work on this project and getting some of these zoning ordinance items addressed quickly. I did want to highlight, and as the supervisor had mentioned, the way the moratorium is structured, it does include hyperscale data centers. So one of the provisions, one of the specifications in the moratorium is it has a moratorium for considering new applications of new construction developments or newly established land uses in the M1, M2, or OT office technology district, which meet any of the criteria. So it's a new electrical load of 10 megawatts or greater, the water and sewer demand of 30,000 gallons per day or larger, and the rest are related to more trucking and truck terminals. Part of the reason why we did that is the only zoning districts that do allow data centers in it are M1, M2, and OT. And to There's differing opinions on what the definition of a hyperscale data center is. I've seen some resources that highlight, well, it's when the data center is 20 megawatts or over, and there's other items where the data center is 10 megawatts or over. So that's why we chose to do it this way. Certainly we can add data centers to it. There's nothing wrong with that. But I just wanted to kind of offer an
Okay.
explanation for why.
So you
we
had
did
it
the way
covered
we did.
before, but we'd like it named. It sounds like we'd like, well.
We can do that.
We've got a motion, and we've got a second, so that's the question. All right. Does anybody have any comments on this?
To the chair.
Trustee Martin?
Yeah, I would also like to see, we have the M1, M2, and OT zoning districts and those can be, data centers can be put in those areas. I would like to see, instead of that we have a new designation called D1, and it'd be just for data centers, and it would be, gonna have tighter control of the location, and it would be hopefully away from residential areas. So we will move the data centers would no longer be able to be in the M1, M2, or OT districts, but it would be in this specific D1 zoning district that would be just for data centers. I don't know if we can do that. I don't know if it's possible, but this is
We'll
something
find
that
out.
I would like to see do if we can.
So Trustee Martin, what I can do is I can refer that comment to the Planning Commission, and I can refer that for follow-up from our planning consultants to see if we can incorporate
Make
that.
sure it's legal, just because
Right.
it's a litigious world.
I mean, we can't zone existing or pending projects, but in the future, we can kind of control our own destiny in a
Okay.
better way.
All right, so we have a motion by Trustee Martin and supported by Treasurer Wright, it should be Clerk Wright, to extend the moratorium that we currently have. Is there any other comments? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Oppose? Motion passes. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Director. Next item, Senior Alliance?
No, that was in the consent agenda.
Okay, just wanted, okay. So the next item would be item 3, which would be create a budget and a job description for a parks superintendent. Can I get a motion? Clerk?
I used to be over there. I'll make a motion.
Okay.
I make a motion to accept it, to make a, I don't have the,
Actually,
do I have?
I wrote down create a budget
you
and a
want?
job description.
Okay. I make a motion to create a budget and job description for the Parks Superintendent.
That's it.
All right.
Okay.
Good evening, Board. So tonight we are asking for approval of the Park Superintendent job description as well as the budget. The Director of Parks role has been vacant since February of this year. Through our recruitment efforts, it became clear the department's needs are better served by more of a specialized, field-oriented role focused on day-to-day operations. That's what we really need. The proposed park superintendent classification reflects that reality and fits more accurately within our department's reporting structure. So if it is approved tonight, the parks superintendent position would be posted immediately to the public, and the director of parks position would be eliminated. And again, note on timing, this item is being walked on because of the board's schedule and our vacancy, and we just need a little bit of help. So happy to answer any questions.
I have no questions.
I had questions, but the supervisor was gracious enough to come in and have a discussion with me, so you got off the hook.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Through the chair, I don't necessarily have a question, I would have a comment. I do believe there should have been more discussion because it sounds like you're going to revamp how the operations are working down there. I think there should have been more discussion with the boards that this is also the way. There should have been guidance like there was when we set up the original bunch. So I'm pretty sorry that didn't happen, and I don't know if this should have worked this way.
Okay, just because that would all be my fault. And to be clear, we are looking at restructuring it. But as I told Clerk Wright, and I thought I told you, there would be no restructuring until after it went before this board to discuss the restructuring and get your approval, as always, before before we did any restructuring. The only reason this portion of the restructuring has come forward is because we've been without management now in the park since February. And when we tried to find a parks director, we just came up woefully short. And the parks directors we did get seem to think that that's a complete management job where they can sit in a company office. And we need boots on the ground to finish off the summer. But then, but obviously we can't restructure without you, I don't think. We wouldn't try. I'm not think that.
Well, you just did.
I don't know, only one position.
It's still a
And quite frankly, you guys can resend that because we're sending the whole thing over here in the budget hearing. But we have to work out what it is yet. But this position needs to be filled. At least,
well,
at least temporarily.
no, I'm not opposing the position necessarily. But
Yeah.
the position that actually is there is the director, and I understand you've had a problem, so.
Numerous problems, actually.
Yeah.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, I have a motion by Clerk Wright, supported by Trustee Kelly. Hearing no further discussion, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you very much. Reports? Reports, we have none. We're now into public comment for non-agenda items. This is public comment for anybody that wishes to speak on any matter that was not already before us today. Ms. Tran.
Yeah, just a couple things. I'd like to thank the police department for keeping the air show people off our street this last weekend. It was it was paradise. Couldn't even tell the air show was going on. Much appreciated. All my neighbors appreciated it. It made a world of difference. So I wanted to come and thank you for that. Thank Josh, the department, for it. And I would also like to thank you for the school resource officer. We've always needed that there. Now I think we're in the third or fourth year. We probably could use another one. It'd be nice if Sumter would get one, but I've talked to Luke a couple times. Maybe when they get their millage, they'll. But it's a great thing to have a resource officer there. So thanks.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Yes, sir.
Good evening, C.J. Marshall. I've been a 38-year resident of the township. Channel 12's not working again tonight, so I'm here. The hasn't been working for 2 weeks, but Dan's working on that. I wanted to follow up on something that Trustee Martin brought up about the data centers and your planning, your master plan here. I know at one time, recently, there was an application for another car wash in the township on Belleville Road, somewhere in that vicinity. And we all know that we must have 10 car washes between Sumter and Michigan Avenue. And we don't need another car wash. Some things we don't need. Our master plan should stress this. We don't need more car washes. We don't need any more dumps. We're surrounded by dumps. We have a magnificent industrial strip down Haggerty Road with warehouses, which is, that's in my opinion, one of the premier industrial in this area. I'm very proud of it. When you drive down Haggerty Road, you see some very nice structures there, and we all know it's warehouses, but they're modern and nice. I've been in a lot of communities where you drive through an industrial area and it looks like a dump. So I'm real proud of our industrial area. Our master plan has been real well thought out. What I have a question about, if we can prevent car washes from coming into the community, I don't understand, and I know this data center was a backdoor deal. It was a property that was sold for warehousing, and it turned into a data center. The thing is, we have 2 data centers already on Haggerty Road and Tyler Road. People didn't know they were data centers. So now we're going to have a 3rd data center. We need something built into our planning, our master plan, that determines how much property a data center can have. We don't need one of these magnificent mega data centers that take up 3,000 acres. There should be a size of a plot of property that they can put a data center on, and there should be a need for it. Do we need another data center? Does this community even need a data center? And if you can turn down a car wash, I don't know why we couldn't turn down a data center. It seems to me like we could have said we don't need it. We didn't need another car wash. We didn't need a data center. But that's a done deal. I can understand how we got snookered into that. I don't blame our board. I don't blame our planning commission. But it's something to think about in the future. And we need to restrict the size of some of the buildings that are going to be put up on properties, and that includes warehousing. Stellantis over here on Beck Road is building an enormous property over there. And it's a business, and I guess they can do what they want. I believe that's Canton. But I don't want to see our township put in that position where they destroy our nature anymore. If you're going to do something, affordable housing would be a recommended idea for some of these properties around here that are still vacant. I'd highly recommend affordable housing for young people. So thank you very much, Trustee Martin, for your comment, and I hope the planning board will consider restricting some of the size of these businesses going into our community because we're running out of space. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. There you go. Come on, sir.
Could you address the reason why we was able to say no to the water, the car wash?
Good evening, board. My name is Sam Casano, and I represent RWE and the battery storage project on Rostonville and Bemis Road. Just wanted to let you guys know that we're still very actively involved in the community ahead of the August 18th board meeting. I specifically wanted to let you know that we've made significant progress in getting the DeBuck family very comfortable with our project. We've brought in fire safety experts for them to ask questions to, and then specifically are offering them insurance guarantees around any loss of business if there was a rare incident were to occur, and then also insurance guarantees against pollution or cleanup, again in a rare incident scenario. And then also we've been working, had some positive conversations with the ownership of the Augusta Woods community, and we're trying to organize a open house for the residents to come and ask questions about our project. And I just wanted to let you all know that we are very excited about the opportunity to continue to work locally here. We believe that this could be a great project. We will meet and exceed all of Van Buren Township's ordinance standards for battery storage. And we believe that this could be a great model project for the state of Michigan. So wanted to thank you all.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Give us an update. Sir, yeah, go ahead.
Good evening, everyone. So I just have some questions about Project Cannoli.
This isn't a two-way, but we can have somebody get back with you on any of your questions, but you're allowed to read anything you want into the record.
Actually, maybe then they're just kind of some comments that I just want to air publicly. And I had a great discussion with Ron maybe back in April, and he took an hour out of his day to talk to me about some of my concerns. And so I don't want to be adversarial, but I just think it might be helpful to just put these out in public. So one statement I have would be regarding the special contract between the township and DTE. I'm kind of wondering how does the state investigation on DTE and consumers with what happened over July 3rd, could that affect any agreement between the township and DTE regarding Project Cannoli?
We'll look into it.
Okay. I also understand that there's I think it's dated May, there's an agreement between Panettone and Van Buren Township. When I looked on the May 19th document, I noticed it was between PDC VBT LLC in Delaware, and I couldn't find any mention of Delaware on Panettone's website, so I was wondering what that specific LLC is, about that agreement between the township and the developer. I had another question about the sound studies that were done. I noticed that there's agreements about decibels, DCA, but I'm concerned about DBC, lower frequency sounds. And so I'm kind of wondering if, can there be studies done on that? Right, because those are sounds that you're not going to necessarily hear, but you're going to feel them. Okay, I didn't notice any of
Ron
those.
can get with you on that.
Okay. So then I did notice that regarding that, kind of the zoning discussions that were had in here, I live in the Haggerty sub, so I live in a residential sub. I understand that the parcel next to me where they're going to build this thing is light industrial. And so I'm wondering those sound, whatever's appropriate for the specific zones, is that the zone where the thing is set or where I'm at? Because if it's, okay, it's 80 decibels for the industrial, but I'm right up against it in a residential area, do you see what I mean? Is that going to, is it okay for them, but then not for me?
Ron can answer that, but 65 decibels can't leave the site.
Okay.
That's the
Okay.
property line.
All right. Another question. What happens to these agreements if and when Google sells that space? I noticed that it said that they have about, 6 months or 12 months, I think, to take their servers, unless they sell their, I guess, their space or something. I'm more concerned about what if Google decides to get out and a company that's not such a good corporate citizen comes in? Does the township have protections against maybe?
We do.
Okay. Few studies on the effects of property values, and so I know that there's maybe one or two out there. They're not the most airtight, and so I kind of wonder, could something be done first with that so that we, as homeowners, have a little more security in where we live? It kind of feels a little bit safer about the project.
I'm not supposed to do a two-way on this, and we're past the three minutes, but I would be happy to meet with you at any time to discuss any of these concerns, because we've already covered every one of them so far.
All right.
Be happy to, but thank you, sir. I really would be happy to meet with you. It's not a problem.
All right.
Okay. Hi.
Hi, my name's Patty. I'm from Van Buren Township. Now, I don't have a lot of details, but for what I understand, there were a number of union workers picketing outside of the Stellantis project recently, and apparently Stellantis has hired some non-union, out-of-state workers. When the consultants for Stellantis and Google come before the Planning Commission with their proposals, one thing they're always pitching is how many jobs they're going to bring to the local community. What's being done to ensure that those jobs are local jobs, or at least in the state of Michigan? That's a concern that I have. They sell us on the jobs, we approve their projects, and then they hire out-of-state workers.
I'm going to answer this question because today I got a phone call from Walbridge Aldinger. August 25th, we are going to, at the, help me, what's the name of the catering place on I-94? Angel Food Catering on August 25th from probably around 4 till 8. We're going to have a local only, Van Buren business only. That's for caterers, hotels, restaurants, truckers, carpenters, electricians, whoever wants to come and work at that Google site. We have a guarantee of a minimum of $100 million, which is promised to Van Buren businesses. And so they will get those. The unions will make you sign up for that one job to be union, but you don't have to become union forever, just for that one job. So $100+ million will come to Van Buren contractors, hotels, restaurants, caterers. I understand they employ up to 2,500 people to build it, and they literally feed them 1 day a week lunch. So there's catering jobs, restaurants. I can't think of all the different things, but we're going to be putting that out through the newspaper, through social media, to make sure that every contractor and business out there, print presses, they talked about logo T-shirts. So, I mean, there's stuff out there for everybody in Van Buren Township on this.
Well, that's great you're doing it for Google, but what about the ongoing project with Stellantis?
Stellantis was a union bid out contract, but there were a couple of jobs, most notably the roofers, where the union roofing company, this is what I'm told, I'm getting secondhand knowledge, the union roofing contractors could not meet the timeline required to build it. So they had to hire other non-union roofers. And that is what the skilled trades are there picketing about.
But if their proposal said that they would hire union workers or local workers,
They didn't have a proposal with us. Their proposal, the North Point that is building that, only has an agreement with Stellantis for building that. But on the data center, because this board stood up here for 6 months and took all the abuse and didn't let the courts take it over, we got to get extra stuff out of that data center. And we got a lot of extra stuff, a ton.
okay, but I guess my concern is if we do this job fair, whatever you're doing in August, which is great, what's to say that Google won't be able to make sure that
they have about $100 million that they would lose if they don't do it, because that's the penalty. They have a $100 million-ish penalty. That's why I know we can control sound, unlike Celine, because we have a hammer on them. Okay.
They're going to be monitored then.
We bought sound equipment so we can monitor sound for the next 5 years.
Well, monitor Google for the hiring process.
Absolutely. We're going to have a ledger, and we're going to meet monthly, and we're going to keep track of it all the way through.
Thank you.
Okay.
Hello again.
Hi.
I'd like to start by thanking Trustee Martin and Clerk Wright for the motion regarding the moratorium. And I would like to echo what the earlier gentleman said regarding our discussion about zoning. You mentioned that there is like a need, kind of nationwide, and especially here, I think, for like more affordable housing. If we're talking about these like large projects, and data centers take up a lot of area, so I assume like we're talking about a large area also. And this is kind of more of a planning commission discussion, but I didn't want to voice it here. If we're talking about like what we can do with this land and with these resources, if we're trying to bring in people, bring in jobs, bring in money, I'm a big fan of mixed use zoning for like residential areas that also have businesses in them. I really have liked what downtown Belleville has done with their downtown. Like over time, they've improved the walkability of their main district with all they brought in like new restaurants. It's really nice to be in. And then also, I can see like there's lots of houses like right there in the area. I live over on Ecorse Road. I've lived in that like neighborhood my entire life. There's not really anything I can do unless I drive out of there and then drive to downtown. A lot of the times I drive out to downtown Ipsy or go to Ann Arbor. I would be very in support of using the resources that the board has taken to ensure like these data center projects are of benefit to the community. I would really be a fan of taking that manpower and that those resources towards projects that like these. I think there's a lot of room for. I think just better
I think a
improvements.
lot of the board agree with you. Anybody else wish to speak? Anybody on the board wish to make comment? No? Oh, I'm sorry, Dan, we got another read-in?
Yes, good evening, Board. So this is an extended form of the communication that was requested right into the record, so bear with me. I'll be as I can. Dear members of the board, we are following up on this email and hoping for a response. Clemis concerns. We were already aware of the township's pre-existing contract with Clemis, but given the fact that Clemis has transitioned from a locally governed organization to a quasi-public-private run organization that has transitioned from a city-owned data server to Amazon Web Services with access to our private information and no oversights, leads us to demand further investigation on new terms and conditions related to the Clemis use in the township. With regard to the ICE, according to this 2015 article, quote, ICE said that the fiscal year 2014, its non-custodial arrest teams in Detroit made an impressive 835 priority criminal alien field arrests, 96% of which were the result of significantly benefited from use of Clemis system, unquote. So although the township does not have a contract with ICE, Columbus has had some ties with ICE in the past, and we cannot find any current information that this relationship was ended. Flock's lack of transparency, mass surveillance, and abuse of data sharing agreements is still a concern with regard to Flock. For example, police departments across the United States access Denver's Flock data for ICE and immigration-related searches nearly 1,400 times between 2024 and 2025. Flock has information sharing agreements with agencies in many cities and states, but recent investigations are revealing that Flock allowed unauthorized federal access to data in Ohio, California, Illinois, and other states via national lookup toggles that were left on Flock's system, and many municipalities were not even aware that this was even a possibility. Has the possibility of the breach of our cameras via toggles been investigated in the township? As mentioned in the prior email, Flock recently changed their contract terms and conditions for perpetual licensing. This grants the company the, quote, exclusive right to determine and control the method, timing, format, and medium, unquote, of access to the data that supposedly belongs to the customer. It also allows for the perpetual right for Flock to use customer data to support and improve its services, allowing the company to keep using driver surveillance data even after a town, city, or other customer has terminated its relationship with Flock and no longer has access to data itself. Flock's right to use such data would have no expiration date. These facts, coupled with the fact that Flock removed the clause that would prevent them from selling our data and make our township a target for data breaches. Furthermore, Palantir invested $270 million in the Flock Corporation. Palantir has contracts with immigration and customs enforcements worth nearly $140 million. There is a public concern that Palantir's investments in Flock may be a sign that future partnerships between two corporations is possible, and the changes in Flock's contract terms could provide the foundation for Palantir gaining access to our private data as well. Therefore, it is important that the township reevaluate Flock contract and take proactive measures to protect us from mass surveillance and breaching our data with regard to federal agencies and any further corporate mergers by asking the questions posed by the ACLU below. If you cannot answer yes to all these questions, our privacy is at risk and may be in violation of 1974 U.S. Privacy Act. I will getting close to the end. Okay. Is the information from townships ALPRs only used to compare the two locally developed watch lists within Van Buren Township? Is ALPR data that is not connected to a crime being deleted after 3 minutes in the township's Flock database? Is township's ALPR data solely accessible to Van Buren Township Police Department? Finally, also was mentioned in our prior email requesting a 6-month extension in the data center and detention center moratorium. We look forward to your response. The following response was prepared by Chief Wright that was shared for the email group that was sent to the board. The Van Buren Township Police Department does share its cameras with other local police departments, state police, and sheriff departments that have Flock. The captured information remains in the system for 30 days before it is deleted. Flock cameras are not mass surveillance. The camera LPRs take a point-in-time image of the rear of the vehicles on public roadways. They do not continuously track vehicles. Images that don't match a specific search or alert connected to an investigation are never accessed and are deleted. Courts have consistently found that license plate readers which take images of vehicles on public roads are not a violation of privacy under the Fourth Amendment. The license plate readers collect license plate text, date, time, camera location, and basic vehicle attributes, make, model, color, all of which are observable from public roadways. The cameras do not collect names, addresses, phone numbers, driver identity, biometric identifiers, or any other confidential personal information. Is the end of Chief Wright's statement. I myself added that over the years, the flock cameras have played key roles in stopping child abductions, providing evidence in hit-and-run fatalities, and in homicide investigations and convictions. The township is undeniably safer because of them. So
Thank you.
that is the end of the statement. Good.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
So I'm about to
Clerk
start,
Wright?
somebody start putting a time limit on public comment? That's what it look like. So, I mean, since I got the mic, I want to make a comment on the, I guess the squeaky wheel do get the attention. So for about 3 or 4 years, I've been complaining, talking to, I mean, it goes back to Commissioner Al Hayes. I think I drove him crazy. Now, Alan Wilson, I've been driving him crazy, but I did call him and give him kudos. They're repaving Tyler Road. That's why you see the cones out there. So something we've been fighting for years because they messed it up when they redid it, putting the new piping down for Detroit Water. We had a perfectly good road, and Wayne County messed it up because they gave it to a contract that it couldn't fulfill the contract. So I'm happy to see the Tyler Road is being redone, and hopefully we'll have a uncracked, safe road to ride on soon.
No denying you drove everybody nuts for 10 years. No. And it obviously worked, so that's good. Any other comments? Hearing none, can I get a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Trustee Boynton, Trustee Kelly, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. We are adjourned.